Hi, this is Patrick Conroy, and this is Chapter 14, Discharge and Remedies. So we've gone through the condition, all the elements of a contract. All the elements of the contract are there. How does the contract end? And what if there's a breach? So, discharge of a contract, performance. Both parties perform, the contract is done. Happening of condition or its failure to occur. You can have all sorts of conditions written into the contract. For instance, I agree to buy your house if I can sell my house within the next 3 months. Well, if I do sell it, then that condition comes in place. If it doesn't, it hasn't come in place. Material breach by one or both parties. That means one party did not perform what they agreed to perform. Mutual agreement. We're both like this, let's get out of this contract. Or an operation of law. That will come more in depth in that later, but sometimes it's just simply what we were contracting to do became illegal, laws changed, and so the contract is ended, is discharged. Types of conditions. Okay, condition precedent, a particular event that must occur for a party's duty to arise. So that's basically like, I agree to buy your house if I sell mine within the next 3 months. Condition subsequent, future event that terminates obligations of the parties when it occurs. I agreed to rent you my house for $2,000 a month or from January 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2023. So once that date passes, contract is over, terminates the obligations of the parties. Concurrent conditions, that's when each party has to perform, and they're supposed to be performing simultaneously. I agree to wash your dog if you agree to feed my cat. If I never wash your dog, you don't feed my cat, those concurrent conditions were never met. Now, an express condition, that usually there's written out in the contract, provided that, if I sell my house, provided that, or when. You'll see those types of words in a clause in the contract. An implied condition not explicitly stated, but inferred from nature and language of contract. And it also can depend on the type of business in which the standard business practice. Tender. Tender is an offer of performance, making an offer to perform and being ready, willing, and able to perform. So I hire a band to play my wedding. Band shows up, I say, I don't want you anymore. Well, the band has tendered its performance because they are ready, willing, and able to perform. So they're in the good. Types of performance. Complete performance occurs when all aspects of the party's duties and the contract are carried out perfectly. Substantial performance occurs when they completed nearly all of the agreement. There was an honest effort to complete all terms. There was no willful departure from the terms of agreement. So they agreed, something has intervened to make it so they can't finish the contract. It's not really their fault. So it wasn't a willful departure from the terms of an agreement. It just became impossible for all the terms to be done by some outside event. Discharge by material breach occurs when one party unjustifiably fails to substantially perform his or her contractual obligations. So I hired the band, they're ready to perform. I tell them, no, don't go on, and I'm not gonna pay you. So I'm in breach. Now that discharges the other party's obligation. The band can leave at that point. Anticipatory repudiation. Party decides before the actual time of the performance not to complete contract obligations. Well, they might still might be a breach, but you know, there hasn't been any tender. I canceled the band the night before. Often occurs when marketing conditions change and one party realizes it will not be profitable for them to continue with the terms of the agreement. It can occur either through express indication of intent not to perform or actions inconsistent with the ability to carry out contract obligation when performance due. Once that happens, the that party's in breach. Anticipatory repudiation is still a breach, but as soon as that happens, the other party is discharged and can sue immediately for damages from that breach. Discharged by mutual assent, both parties agree to discharge each other from their mutual obligation. If they put in a new contract, this is substituted contract. Accorded satisfaction, promise to perform new duty, satisfaction, actual performance of new duty. And the party's duty under contract is not discharged until new duty is performed. So that might be, they can do a mutual rescission, or they can put in a substituted contract. Discharged by operation of law. Well, there's been an alteration of the contract. One party committed declared bankruptcy. It becomes impossible to perform. There's a statute of limitations that's run out, and they can no longer perform it. It becomes impractical, or there's been a frustration of purpose. Now, anytime there's a breach, there are legal remedies. Compensatory damages are damages designed to put plaintiff in position he would have been in contract had been fully performed. And those are foreseeable damages that result from special facts and circumstances arising outside contract itself. And the damages must be within contemplation of parties at the time breach occurs. So, I'm in business, I sell screws. I sell the screws for 49 cents a piece. All of a sudden, my supplier, who's been supplying them to me for 24 cents a piece, says they can no longer do that. So I have to go out and find another company to sell me screws, and they sell me the screws at a higher price. Well, the difference between what I would have paid and what I ended up having to pay is how my monetary damages are discovered. Sometimes there are punitive damages. In that case, they really want to punish the defendant because they're might have been outrageous or just something beyond simple breach. Nominal damage. Sometimes they award a damage that's just nominal $5 to signify there are no actual damages, that there was a breach. And sometimes you contract for things and you're not really damaged by it not occurring but they were in breach, so you can sue them. I don't know why the point would be if you're only going to get $1 to $5. Liquidated damages are damage for breach of the contract specified in the contract itself, either as a fixed amount or as a formula for determining money due. You don't sell me those screws, you owe me $5,000. Duty to mitigate damages. The non-breaching party to a contract must use reasonable efforts to minimize the damage resulting from the breach. Even though the party is not in breach, she cannot run up the damages. Okay, you're a landlord, your renter leaves after, it's a 1-year lease, and they leave after 2 months. And so they're in breach if they're not paying you rent. Well, I just wait for the whole year to go and expect damages to be for the whole year. You know, there's really a duty to mitigate damages, meaning I should put the apartment back on the market and try to get the same amount of rent or something close to it, so that it's not the 10 months rent is a portion of the 10 months where it was not collecting rent, or I ended up having to collect less rent, or I had to advertise, and it's the cost of the advertising. Equitable remedies for breach of contract. Well, rescission, the termination of the contract. Restitution means the return of any property transferred under the contract. Someone's, I pay them $5,000 to fix my air conditioner. They don't. They pay me back the $5,000. That's the restitution. Specific performance. In that case, requires the breaching party to fulfill obligations under the contract. And that's usually only when monetary damages can't be worked out. Like you specific performance is a specific piece of real estate that they're in breach of not selling. Well, the only thing that's going to really be the proper remedy is that I get that real estate. An injunction is an order forcing a person to do something or prohibiting a person from doing something, as part of the breach. A reformation is a contract rewritten to reflect parties' actual agreement. That's when the original contract might have left out some condition. So reformation is it's being rewritten to reflect the parties' actual agreement. Okay, quasi-contracts. A quasi-contract is a legal obligation imposed by law to prevent unjust enrichment. This could be called a contract applied in law or constructive contract. I'll give you a good example. My neighbor orders a $3,000 TV from Amazon.com. Well, the TV is accidentally delivered to me. I take it and I put it on my wall. So now there's a quasi-contract between me and Amazon. Because I actually took the thing, knowing it wasn't meant for me, and I'm using it. So there was a benefit that I got, and the plaintiff, Amazon, can reasonably expect to be compensated for the benefit conferred on defendant. There's nothing free in this world. And it would be unfair if I did just keep the TV. Okay, so that's a brief introduction with some of the terms you'll be seeing in this chapter. Good luck, and let me know if you have any questions. Have a great day.